scene, you know.
Arguably more exciting than the punk scene, you know, there's so many different tangents and crossovers.
There was loads of just different tangents, and none of us thought we'd ever make it, you know. There was no way that we were going to be played. I think Steve Wright in the afternoon once, because he used to do a little intro in the afternoon, I don't know if you remember, not all of you from England, but he would say, what's on John Peel's show? Tonight on John Peel there's going to be this or whatever, the band. And it mentioned Gene loves Jezebel. None of you will ever hear on this show. so we had no chance of ever being in that place. So that freed you to do whatever you wanted. And so it was, you felt you were an artist. And which, especially, you know, we didn't rehearse, we literally just jam. And I just go up and down scales and sing things like, you should be glad to be alive, and all that kind of stuff, you know, and just, it would be nothing rehearsed about it at all, very spontaneous.
Did you have a vision what you wanted the band to be? I mean, it had a very distinctive image, it was quite an amazing image, it was so flamboyant, kind of glam, but not 70s glam, more, but you know, kind of darker glam.
I was putting everyone in my own image, basically. He joined the band, including my brother. There's this button here, which is me in 1982. That is me reaching across on the bruises, doing my brother's hair. I used to call them tarantula tops, so I'd tie them so they'd stick out all different angles, you know. So I was always aware of image, you know. I mean, one of the most popular goth covers is Immigrant, our second album, which I'm wearing a dress on or whatever else, and the irony of that is that record sleeve is like 18 months old. Beggars wouldn't pay for a photo session. By the time Immigrant came out, I had long hair, I was wearing ruffles, and I'd gone completely in a different direction. But to answer your question, yeah, image was very, very more important than anything, really. But my difficulty with that, because when I was in Wales, I could have a guitar and a drum machine and I could write a song. But as soon as I play with musicians, I find it very difficult for them to actually, you know, interpret my song, to play it like I'd written it. So it was quite difficult. Until I met people like Pete Rizzo was the first bass musician I met, and I went, oh, he's just fantastic. I can play something, and he can complement it.
I mean, how would that work? Did you like it? You know, people sort of put their own sort of twist on what you were doing.
I love all that. Yeah, it's very open. I mean, Julianne Reagan, when she joined the band, I just said, "You play bass? I need a bass player." You know, that was the punk ethic at the time. It was like, and so happened she could play bass. She's very musical. She's an amazing singer, which I didn't know at the time. Ironically, since then I've done a few things. I've sang things. She goes, "Oh, Jay, can I do some harmonies on that?" And she does these really complex harmonies really quickly. I'm like, Jesus, these are actually Gene Loves Jezebel records that were never released. You know. This is weird.
She's amazing, isn't she?
She is, and you know, and she's politically on the same page as me, which helps, you know. So, but it was free form. Looking back on it, I probably would have done it differently. But
in what way?
I'd have found a good drummer, a good bass player, and a good guitar player. And I'd have written the songs. What I ended up with in the end, of course, I ended up with James Stevenson, Pete, and Ian Hudson, and these people slowly.
What you ended up with is what you would have started.
I would have started. I would have probably taken a leaf out of people slightly older than me, where they looked for the best musicians.
Would it be less of a band dynamic? Would you prefer it if it's almost not solo, but because it's somewhere between band and solo?
Somewhere between. Well, I don't know. My solo stuff, which I'll do here tonight, especially tomorrow night, is it's the only time I've cried on stage is when I do my solo thing. Because you connect totally to the song.
So it's way more personal.
Way more personal. You're way more vulnerable. And as you get older, you pick up way more damage. So there's more hurtful things to let out, you know. So we lose people we love and stuff a lot more. And it's Gene Loves Jezebel, when I go out with the band, it's a holiday. We love each other, we have a great time, we've so many similar interests, and we all bring in new things to each other all the time. We get on really well, but I walk on that stage and I'll know, and we just played Sinner's Day and there was Jar Warper and all these other days, I know my band's better than your band. And you look in the people writing about it, they say how good we were, you know, but it's easy for us, just off we go, you know, it's easy.
It's more, but solo is much more naked emotionally.
First song, as Mark, who's the merch guy, said to me, Jay, it's like, it's either great or it's terrible. You know, it is on when I plug that guitar in now, if something goes right, it might be the best gig you've ever seen. Or it might be, you think, Jesus, what's he doing? You know, it is, but that's what's exciting about it, you know. When it's high, and because I walk a lot, anyone knows me knows I walk a lot. And I did a gig once in LA in a club in a dodgy part of LA, and I walked all the way back to Atwater Village, which is about 12 miles, you know. But I was just so high from doing something so well and having this audience of very trendy people just transfixed to what I was doing. And I was playing songs I'd never sang before, songs that are half written, just writing them in front of them, and they were just like gobsmacked. And that's what you do it for, you know. And then I just can't go home after that. And I don't drink, I certainly don't do drugs. So I gotta walk, and that's my meditation, my yoga. And I'll sing all the way home, you know. I'll be so happy. Yeah,
Which is the reason to do it, I guess, to get to that.
It's alive, it's
feeling
being alive.
Validation. I just want to ask you, we haven't got super much time left, but you're quite successful in America. Of all that clutch of bands we're talking about, you almost you got close to the big breakthrough, but still got pretty big over there.
Yeah.
What was that like, you know, to get to that point? And also, did it cause too much tension between the bands? Is it the making and the breaking of a band, America?
Well, it can do. With us though, we all gone really well. The tension was between me and my brother. Or, you know,
was that separated by America?
Big time, because we're different animals. You know, we have different value systems. What I think is cool to treat people and how he thinks is cool, we are very different. And it's in a weird thing. He's doing his own thing. I'm not here to slag him off, you know. But we'd be playing on stage. We played with the Bunnymen and New Order. We did a big tour together, which was a pre-thing to Lollapalooza. The agent modelled the whole of Lollapalooza on our tour, because we're the first of those kind of bands to do that. But we'd be playing our songs tightly together, really important to ourselves, those songs, and he'd be fucking about. He'd be just kind of dancing out in the audience, you know. Or, you know, or I'd be going singing and he'd be miming to my vocals if he's singing. And the band would be like, what's he doing? What the fuck is he doing?
Would that work originally in the earlier stages, though? Would that be something that
Well, you're in a small club like this and someone's climbing over the speakers, it's entertaining, you know, it can be entertaining, but when you're in front of a serious thousands of people who would come to your music and they can't really see what you're doing on stage and so far away, then it's a bigger issue. And it just became difficult because we'd be writing songs and he wouldn't be involved, you know, or if he was involved, it would take a long time to do something really simple.
Did you find it change you as well, going to America?
Change? Oh, well, our impression of America was bad. We never wanted to go there. You know, we just thought they were idiots. It's very much, you know, we thought it's Reagan land, and what the fuck do you want to go there for? But the Heysel Stadium disaster happened, which was a football game, Liverpool. Was it Roma? Juventus. So I lost interest in soccer at one stage, where music was far more important. But Juventus played and there was a stampede and fans died and it was really bad. And us and the four were both on beggars and we were both due to go to Italy the next day. And the Foreign Office literally said the thing that it's not a good idea for people, musicians to travel, entertainers to travel to Italy. So my brother, we'd already been to New York to record with John Cale from the Velvet Underground. And my brother, one of his strengths, he's great at just talking to people, pick up the phone and do something else then, you know. He's very wise like that. And he picked up the phone to Ruth Polsky, who booked Danceteria and all those things. Yeah. And she'd already had us over there and it'd been great, you know. And he said, oh, Ruth, you know, we're stuck, you know, we've got this tour. Because we'd started to become big in Italy, you know. Done some TV stuff, they'd come over to see us. And that was just taken from under our feet. So, and she said, yeah, I've got a couple of things, there's a thing called New Music Seminars happening, and there's all these bands and agents, they all come together, and record labels, little labels, and big labels. And it's a great meeting point, you know. And so maybe you can get a couple of gigs there too. So we went over, and there's a whole host of things happened. Our guitar player had a nervous breakdown, tried to throw himself off the Iroquois Hotel. There's me and the Groundhogs drummer to pull him out of the window to stop him going down, I don't know, stories, whatever it was. And so that's where James joined us. But yeah, so from those 2 little gigs in Danceteer, we ended up doing touring for 3 months. So there was massive, it was a massive change. But for me, I was always, focused on being good, trying to find out who the hell I was. And that was always my aim.
And does that get you through those grinding American tours?
It did, because they used to laugh at me, because I didn't. We'd be in diners, and especially back in those days, you go to a diner and ask for vegetable soup, and there'd be bacon in it. So it was tough for me, and the boys would laugh. They go, "Oh, J.A." They call me J.A. My name's not J, it's J. John Aston, which got shortened to J. To give you how big we became, in New York, we still hold the record for the biggest in-store on Broadway. We'd be hours signing stuff. And I'd sign a J.A., which is John Aston, which is on the Immigrant Album, J.A. And every kid would go, "What's J.A.?" And I'd have to explain it. So I just wrote J, fuck it. And Bucks Fizz had disappeared. They weren't heard of. No one had ever heard. My brother said, they just disappeared. They're not around anymore. Of course, she came back, didn't she?
Haunted you for the whole of your life.
To this day, identity is a big problem. But it was, America was very good to us, especially California really embraced us, My first experience of the USA, we arrived to do work with John Cale, who was a heroin addict at the time, by the way. At the Iroquois Hotel, which is a flea-ridden, cockroach, horrible. Now it's a very expensive hotel, but then it wasn't. They put all the bands would be in there. You'd see bits of Rocks or any number of punk bands would be staying there at the same time. Filthy place. But we arrived still signing on the dole, unemployment in the UK. Beggars often would do this, so let the bands do that, so they didn't have to pay them anything. And we'd be wearing what the Welsh call daps, which the English people call plimsolls, but we call them daps. And this is when it's like 17 below. Can you imagine? So we get off, some guy picks us up in a van at JFK, and we got all our luggage and guitars and stuff, and one of the bus, what do they call the guys? To pick up all your luggage and stuff, take them off the trolley shit.
Concierge hotel.
At the airport they are. Porters, I guess porters, yeah, porters. So there's porters. A porter comes up, "Hey guys, yeah," and I go, "Oh sure, that's nice." We'd never been to America before, Loads all our gear up. That's the band and roadies, so there's 8 people's gear, all loads. Works his butt off, takes freezing cold, loads it all into the van. We'd never been to America before. I say to the driver, "Oh, how much do we have to pay?" "Oh, I just give him $1. You make $1 a piece." I give him $1. And the guy goes, "Fucking limeys." So we knew nothing of America, and it was like MTV had just started, and it was mind-blowing. We ordered a pizza. "Oh, we'll have a medium pizza, please." And this thing that covered the table came. So that was like whipping. And this was an era, we went to Minneapolis and places like that, and we couldn't believe how fat people were. And little did we know, 10 years later, it's the world. All these carbohydrates, all the fats are everywhere. The McDonald's is everywhere, and everyone has the same problem.
You clicked with America. I mean, what didn't go around?
They got us. They got us.
You got to good level, somewhere between cult and big, wasn't it?
Biggest, as James said, we're the biggest cult band in America. We jumped very quickly at that stage.
What did they get about you? What did they understand? Because it looked good. Was that something post MTV America?
I think they were suspicious of all new bands, especially coming from England after the British Wave.
Haircut bands.
Haircut bands, and then we came along, and I had a Stratocaster and James had a Les Paul. So it's like, oh my god, they play guitars. So we weren't going, dee, 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 "Oh my head is hurting, dee, 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 dee." We were playing music, and they got it. They got it straight away, and there was a lot of movement, very theatrical, very exciting, And we weren't like other bands. We'd play cowboy bars, and we'd end up at these places, and they'd look at us like we were from another planet, And it wasn't like Bruce Springsteen or the Police famous is, "Oh yeah, we toured, we did 15 gigs just for killers, man," No, we would play 60 odd gigs, and we used to put makeup and clothes on, so it wasn't like we could just walk from the van onto stage. It was a theatrical experience, and it was exhausting, And we quickly got a reputation. By the time we got to LA, we sold out 2 nights. Jane's Addiction opened for us at the Roxy, and we jumped up really quickly to the Palace, and we moved quickly for us there.
What did that feel like? Did that feel like? Did you expect that to happen in your master plan?
A lot of the time, you're just exhausted because there's so many interviews, you know, and there's so much TV, so much stuff you've got to do, and there's so many gigs, so many sound checks, and I just remember coming back to London once, and our just hit the top 30, like 30, 31, 32, and we're just sitting around doing nothing in Britain and thinking, why aren't we touring? You know, this is bizarre. There's a huge audience for us, and we're not touring, so we automatically went back to the US. You know, that's where we were loved.
Did it change the music as well, do you think?
Well, you signed to a big label, and they do change the music, unfortunately. I was saying to some of my friends earlier, a song like Gorgeous, for instance, which is a popular song, they would cut it down, compress it. You've got to get to the chorus quicker. So the bridge of that song goes, in a town where I'm from, there's a lot of things going on, you've got to use a little imagination to get along. So you go to a bar, you talk to your friends about girls and cars, and even though you know they'll only go this far, then it's supposed to go, you need a lover. Oh, yes, you do, you need a lover. Oh, you know it's true, you need a lover. You make the dead dance to you, so God, that's what the song's supposed to go. But they wanted to get the chorus so quick, they completely cut out that section. So you go to a bar, you talk to your friends about girls and cars, and even though you know they'll only go this far, you're so gorgeous. Which cut out that, same with the song Jealous, they compress things. So the song, which is originally very cynical, and talking about, you know, my impressions of being jealous of someone, and they compressed it into 2.5, 3 minutes, and they put tons of jealous, when it's supposed to be just going jealous on my own. And they just added, you know, all these layered vocals just to make it more radio friendly. Emotional Love is the same too.
But it actually works, though.
It did work. People loved them.
Yeah.
They did work.
But luckily, you actually have a commercial era.
I like songs. I like each song to be different. So when it comes on, you know it's that song. I mean, if I was wise, I'd make every song sound the same, because you can make, that's how you have a career, really. You just keep on doing the same song. You keep on, have the same sonic, have the same song. And that can work, you know. If you put certain records on, you think, oh, that's whatever band it is. You just know it. But I like, each song is telling a different story for me. So did America change us? Yeah, I mean, when I actually finally came back to Britain, say Lincoln to London, I felt like a stranger. You know, I didn't relate to Take That or any of the Happy Mondays and all that kind of wave of stuff. I didn't relate to that at all. You know. It was not my me at all. You know.
You sort of became sort of mid-Atlantic.
We did. I mean, and the thing was as well with the drug thing in Britain too. I mean, when we first came back from the US in say mid-80s, oh my God, they're rock stars. They must do cocaine, la la la. The time I came back in 87, 88, you know, the milkman was doing cocaine. It was crazy. I mean, it was just so common, you know. And everyone was doing ecstasy, and it's not my kind of drug, you know. I like the shared experience where you get hooligans from different fans, from different football clubs. Suddenly, oh, I love you, man. That's great. But that's not real, you know. Life is far more beautiful than that to me. Without drugs, I have friends. I've done ecstasy. I know what ecstasy is about. Just not for me, you know.
Okay, so a couple of questions from the floor.
Oh. You have a question?
I got a question, Joe.
Right.
As we know, you didn't cover Tangled Up in Blood, and cover versions was never something that you ever did a lot. So what was unique about White Car in Germany from your label mates?
Oh, what was the title? I'm taking the title out. White Car in Germany is an associate song. I'm into singers, you know. You're my biggest
influence. Now there's a singer. Wow. Yeah. I'm
into singers. So if I hear a good singer, that's what, I don't care what kind of music it is. If I hear a good singer, that's what I'm into. So when I heard Billy Mackenzie, I'm like, oh my God, he's amazing, you know. So, and I just, and they were label mates, you know. So, and I looked up to him. He was very nice to us, you know. So I just did what, it's not the same song, but I just wanted to use that title, as I did with Tangled Up in You, just to nod to Bob Dylan, you know.
A reference.
Just to say, oh, this is what I'm into, you know, I'll use something of theirs, even though they're not that related, really. So, yeah. Good question.
Any more?
All right. Yeah, of course.
I recently went to see Duran Duran.
Right.
And they are kind of like, I don't really give a crap who, you know, what anyone thinks of my musical taste.
I agree, yeah.
And they were great. I wondered if there's any bands or artists that you like that people might be surprised that you like. Because Duran Duran, exactly, you know, this is alternative goth stuff, and they were very opposite of that, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah, there's loads. I mean, I could say Beach Boys for start, but, you know.
Beach Boys as well.
Yeah,
My
but
mum loved them, so.
Genius. If you're into singing.
Cool, though.
Yeah, it's varied, it's varied. Well, listen, I used to like Led Zeppelin, which was very uncool to like them, you know. And even though I fell out of love with them for different reasons, which I won't go on all night about now. But I always liked Alan Hull from the band Lindisfarne. His solo stuff, I think, is amazing. I used to say to people, oh, you should listen to Alan Hull. And they'd look at me like, oh my God, that's so fucking uncool, man. And then, like 10 years ago, you got Paul Weller, Elvis Costello, and all these people doing Alan Hull tributes. So, yeah, if something's good, it's good, you know. I mean, Duran Duran have got quality, definitely. There's something about them that you don't get there for no reason at all. There's some good songs in there, yeah. I can sing along to some of this stuff and go. And some of the stuff like Wild Boys, he should not be trying to sing. So out of his range, but he still tries to do it, doesn't he? Wild Boys! But, you know, I guess, you know.
Does John have anybody that's...
Oh God, yeah. No, I like loads of Division 3 glam stuff when I was a kid. Even bands like Mugs, even the Wobbles had a good single, you know. I don't give a fuck about being... I'm from Blackpool, I've got no comment.
If it's down to critics, there's 100 albums, that's all we all like, that's it. There's 100 albums made, all the rest is shit. As far as they're concerned, you know, that's all you can like. And there's thousands and thousands of great records being made. You know?
It could be the worst song ever with the greatest bass line.
Yeah. What was that song, Violence Grows? Remember that song?
Fatal Microbes, wasn't it?
One song. Brilliant song though. Just one song. Don't they count? Just because there's, you know, one song?
You get to an age though where your musical taste, you start to not give a crap about anything else.
Exactly,
you know,
I agree. You don't care. You know. But I tell people, they'd be like, you know, can't like that. Yeah, I agree. That's one of the best things about. Now we've hit our 30s. It's great. We'll give it down.
So what are you going to be playing for us now then?
I don't know. I wasn't sure. But tomorrow I'll do a set of songs. Tonight I was just going to play some songs I've never played before. I think maybe some. And just some I want to. Might be a bit rusty. I want to work on maybe. If that's all right with everyone. If I do my thing. But £100 down there. Be surprised what it'll do. So cool, thank you, John.
Thanks, Jay.
Cheers. Appreciate it.